morning and thanks for being with us. Monday morning, 11 a.m. We've got all the stories, the news and cues that matter and a pretty interesting conversation that's lined up for you over the next couple of minutes. We're looking at television digitization in this country. The deadline is approaching fast. By the 30th of June, all households in Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata and Chennai will have to be on a digital platform. Consumers can choose. They can either go the DTH way or go for digital cable. Well, what's in it for those who actually opt for digital cable? If you see the way stocks have performed, there is a great deal of euphoria in the market and anticipation that revenues and profits for these companies will increase. If you look at Den Networks and what it's done, for instance, last 6-month return on stocks like Den Network, Wire and Wireless and Hathway, anywhere between 40% to as high as 60%. That's, of course, 3 months. If you see a slightly longer chart of 6 months, look at that kind of a return. 60% at a time when the market has really been in the doldrums, has been struggling off and on. So what is working right? More importantly, is this hope well placed? Nagesh Chhabria, CEO of Indus Media and Communications, with us in the studios today. Mr. Chhabria, good morning and thank you for taking out the time.
Good morning.
So we just wanted to understand this because the market is very excited. As we can see, the stock prices say it all. How much of this excitement is well placed? Because let's not forget, by the 30th of June, consumers will have a choice. They can go either for digital cable or for DTH. Why should they be going for digital cable?
I think technology-wise, digital cable TV is far ahead of DTH. The number of channels which STB box of digital cable can be given is around to the tune of around 1500 channels, which is not possible in, I think, in DTH or any other services. And also it is not weather-driven conditional services which gets affected when there is rain or there is storm. I think it's a service where we can have a convergence. It's a dual play. We can give broadband, we can give internet, we can give cable services, value on demand and many other things, I think so.
So let's take this last point of value on demand, because I'll give you my personal example, and I was checking with a couple of friends who are actually on digital cable. Value-added services have not yet taken off in that big a manner on cable as what you get with your DTH providers these days, where movies on demand and music on demand, it's already a reality. Why is digital cable coming into this with a bit of a lag?
I think we were waiting for the addressability. Moment that happens, I think within 1 month or 2 months, this will be a reality in India, where we'll be showing movies and content, local contents which will be as per their demands. The customers and viewers can take it. It's just waiting for addressability.
Okay. You don't see any real threat from DTH come the 30th of June. What is it that the digital cable industry is trying to do to get more and more people to switch to cable and not go away to DTH? Don't you feel the threat of competition heating up?
I think actually there is no threat, because the MSOs or LCOs, they know their consumers from last 15 to 17 years. So they are not going to a new house. Whereas DTH is searching for new houses for a new customer. We know our customers, we know our base. I think there actually is no threat. It is just a hype created by the DTH players. I think we know we won't be losing any market to DTH players.
What about investments, Mr. Chhabria? Because I was looking at figures and figures really vary. So I read somewhere that it's about 19 million set-top boxes that are required for the first phase. That number goes to about 90 million by 2014 when digital cable has to roll out all across the country. So what about the kind of investments that you need to still put in place to get the fiber network itself, to the kind of required level?
I think networks all are ready. Yes, but providing funds for the STB boxes, I think every MSO was having a time of around 6 to 9 months. We were just waiting when this happens. And I think all are well placed. They have made arrangements through bank, through finance, and they are ready with the funding. And I think each MSO is ready with around more than 2 million boxes to just go and put them into the market. It's just a matter of implementation.
So then there is no real question of greater investments at this point in time for the 4 metro rollout. Would you say that MSOs don't really have to deploy too much of extra funds to meet the commitments for 4 metros at least?
I think we will be requiring around 200 millions for coming 2 years. I think if you go in rupees, I think 200 crores each MSO has to put. Like if In Cable is targeting for 2 million boxes, I think a box cost around $20 to $22. and with around 2 million, I require a fund of around 180 crores to 200 crores. That fund is required now for each year, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We will have to make arrangements of around 1,000 crores each MSO. That funds are required.
You're saying that 200 crores a year are required basically for set-top box cost, if I understood correctly.
Correct. That funds are required.
But sir, that's not a cost that but that's not a cost that MSOs themselves are footing, because the set-top box ultimately the cost is paid by end consumer.
How it is, we are subsidizing the STB boxes. MSOs, like today, if a STB box is been purchased at around 1,800 to 2,000 rupees, whereas we are subsidizing it to the tune of around 60%. To the end consumer, we are giving it at 600 to 800 rupees today.
Okay, so how well equipped then is the industry to meet this fund requirement? You've just given a figure that for the next couple of years, every year 200 crores needs to be spent per MSO just for set-top boxes. So how well equipped or how well funded do you think MSOs are right now to meet this requirement?
I think phase 1 at least, everyone is done there, they have placed their orders. I think phase 2, maybe with the way things go ahead, if the rollout is stable, I think we'll be having a lot of foreign investors. Valuations will take a better note. People will come to invest in this sector. It's just a matter of time. We are hoping, we are keeping our fingers crossed that the rollout is properly done in the market.
So let me, end with some final thoughts here, Mr. Chhabria. And this is a long-standing issue between cable operators, MSOs and broadcasters on the other hand, the very contentious issue of carriage fee. Now, TRAI recently came out with a directive, a note saying that a reasonable amount of carriage fee should be paid, and it should be paid uniformly. That, of course, irked the broadcasters quite a bit because they were hoping that carriage fee goes away completely. Now, what is the stance right now on this? What kind of transparency can be expected in the payment and revenue share structure between a channel or a broadcaster and the cable operator that's actually carrying the channel or the airwaves?
I think everyone is behind carriage, especially broadcasters. But I think it depends on the broadcasters. If they want to get that channel reach to all the consumers, to all the viewers, it depends on them. And I think the carriage which was going on in analog market, there won't be a substantial change in that. There should be some fine tuning. I think if it depends on the broadcaster whether he wants to be in basic FTI in bouquet, or he wants to be in all the bouquets, he wants to be placed on top of the bouquet or anywhere, depends on his reach what he wants. I think depending on that, the carriage should be fine tuned, but I don't think MSO should be having a problem. It should vary from plus minus 10%, I feel.
So is there a greater chance of carriage fee going up by 10%, or is there a greater chance of it at least coming down by 10%? What do you think is a likely scenario for 4 metros come July 1st?
I think maybe for coming 6 months we might have a small dip. But since the number of channels are increasing, today we were taking carriage for only 70 channels or 80 channels, and that can go up to 300, 350 or 400. I think chances of increasing are more in coming years.
Okay, all right, Mr. Chhabria. So it seems that good times are at least here for MSOs, if you go by what we've heard from in cable today. So. Thanks for joining us and giving us your point of view.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, the stocks definitely are sharing that kind of enthusiasm more than some of the DTH players like Dish TV, which has been actually languishing in the last 1 year. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. The big story coming up next.